that you prepare, that you understand the extent of this virus. So the reason I'm actually doing this video is because when I was sick, my border guy used to bring me medicine, used to bring me drugs and put it at the door. This same border man that used to bring me stuff came here yesterday and he told me, but I doubt it was corona. I don't think coronavirus is there. I almost wept because I felt like, you saw me. You saw what I went through. How dare you say that the coronavirus is not there? So I'm here to tell you that I've had a lot of people say these things, that, oh, it's government's ploy to keep us at home, to keep us shut, or they don't want us to, participate in rallies and stuff like that. But ladies and gentlemen, this virus is there and it is real and it is happening and it is just right at your door. It is infecting people you know. People you know are dying. People's fathers and mothers are admitted. Their sisters, their brothers, their children are admitted, and these stories are going to be many. I'm sorry for wasting your data, for looking at the dots, but it has to be said. Someone has to tell you. I tested positive for COVID, I think beginning of last month, and I personally believe I got it from, I don't know, work or something, and it was surfaces. Before, my boyfriend always told me, wear masks, what, I didn't want to know. I'll be like, when it comes, we'll just beat it, we'll be kawa, whatever. Please be careful, nothing. Please sanitize, nothing. So I believe that I touched a surface, and I started feeling, I remember taking a cold drink, because COVID doesn't really cooperate with cold drinks. So I took a cold drink in the evening. I was from meeting, I think I was from meeting someone, and I took a cold drink, and so I couldn't breathe. And I was with my neighbor in the car. She's expecting, and I tell her, Lynn, I don't feel fine, I can't breathe, something is happening to me, blah blah blah. And then I stopped drinking. I was taking Minute Maid and I stopped drinking it. I just put it down, and I got home feeling a bit cold, but I slept and felt better in the morning. So I went to work and they told me, oh, you can't drive in, you have to park here, blah blah blah. It was raining, so I just walked in the rain, reached office, and the funny thing is later the sun came out. So while other people were crying of heat, I was feeling very cold, and I was sweating. I was sweating so much. It's like you don't even know where the sweat is coming from. Like, it's like you see, it's like the pores are opening and sweat is just coming out of every part of your body. My palms were sweating, but then I didn't know it was COVID. Of course, that's not the first thing you think about. I was feeling, it's like I had wounds beneath my skin. The whole body, guys, was aching. I was in so much pain. And I kept, I went to departures, worked. So the funny thing about COVID and how real it is that my friend, bought a phone, and he brought the phone and told me, you look at the new, the new phone, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it looks nice, what? Touched the phone. Meanwhile, my palms were sweating. I was feeling hot, but I just kept saying, it's a hot day. I was feeling cold and I was sweating, but I'm like, maybe it's malaria, I'll test in the evening. When I touched his phone, we discussed the phone, and about 2 hours later, he left. We left work. So that's when I came back in the evening, and I was like, you know what? I need to find out what it is, and I think it's COVID, because I now say I'm feeling flu. The headache I felt, I've never felt before in my entire life. It was the worst headache ever. I couldn't turn this neck on like different angles. I had to turn my whole body. It's like the headache, it's like I had like something standing in my neck from the head to the neck. I was in so much pain. So I came home and I told my friend, she's a doctor, I'm like, I think I have COVID. I'll test tomorrow, but what can I do? She told me which drugs to buy. She sent me the drugs to buy. Actually, when I was getting out, a gentleman in a different agency saw me and he told me, I think you have COVID. He saw me shaking, he saw me sweating and breathing very hard, like very, very fast. I was out of breath. And he's like, you know what, I think you have COVID. He put me aside and he told me, you know what, go home, you can beat it, go and get lemon, get garlic, drink. It was an old man. But in my head I was still doubting and I was scared. So anyway, when I came, I told my friend, I'm like, I think I have COVID, and she told me what to do. We bought drugs, the first set of drugs that day. I took them. The results came back after 24 hours the following day, and indeed I had tested positive for COVID. But I remember telling myself, now that I know what it is, I'm going to fight. I'm going to do everything I can. So I closed my door. And the worst part about this disease is that you live alone. It is the saddest bit. You're still playing, you're still attending parties, you're still doing these things because you're in a group, you understand, you're with people, until you're locked in the house alone. My neighbor, my pregnant neighbor, had to bring me, because she had to boil for me lemon, garlic, blah, 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 put in a flask and put it at the door. I couldn't see anyone for weeks. And I started the treatment. I had so many drugs to take because I had so many symptoms. I know there are people who have been lucky and have not been asymptomatic, but I was. So I had headache, I had diarrhea, I was vomiting. There are so many nights that I couldn't even take myself to the toilet. And so I would crawl to the bathroom and vomit on myself, vomit all over the bathroom, and have to clean it myself. I had the worst diarrhea. It's like there was temperature. It's like when I would eat something, it's like I would be temperature, something hot would burn me in the stomach. My stomach would turn so much until I go to the toilet, and I would sit and literally have diarrhea for a full 1 hour. I would be seated on the toilet, literally dying down like this with no energy. Then one night, I think on the third day at night, I don't know if it was anxiety or something, I couldn't breathe. I started doing all the breathing exercises that my friend had shown me, and they didn't work. So I packed myself at about 11, got my things, put them in the car, and decided to take myself to Grade B because I felt like I needed an oxygen tank. But I called my friends that are doctors. I called Brenda. I told her, Brenda, I think I'm... So I tell Harono, I'm like, Harono, I'm dying, please get me whatever connection. My friend Millie, she's my sister's friend, she's also a doctor in Mulago. She was calling, Brenda was calling, they were calling everyone they know in Grade B in Mulago to see, like, and Brenda was like, can you drive? I was like, yes, I think I can. Because, well, no one is going to drive you. You have, COVID. And, she tells me as I'm driving out, I'm like, let me just go there and I see what she's like, you know what? If you go there, the hospital is full. You like, there's nothing for you to do. Like, even Mulago was full. Like, they've told you, hospitals are full, they're overwhelmed. Doctors are tired, they've done their best. So that this is about you. You are supposed to protect yourself because doctors have done everything they can. The government has told us about this, they've told us to protect ourselves, and we are still reckless. So anyway, I realized that there's no way out. I can't go to Grade B and I can't go to Mulago. I have nowhere to go. I go back to the house. I leave the things in the car, and I'm like, you know what, if I feel better in the morning, then okay, if I don't feel better, I'll see where to start from. So I go back and I start steaming. I'm like, let me steam and see. So the thing is, you can't take a deep breath. You can't inhale and take a deep breath. You keep taking short breaths, and that's where the problem is. The fact that you are taking short breaths, they can't sustain you. You can't breathe for long. It's like taking one deep breath and then, you're normal. I could not pick up phone calls for a long time. I couldn't pick up phone calls. My workmates kept calling me, and my family, but I couldn't pick up phone calls because I couldn't talk and breathe at the same time for days. So in the morning, someone comes and checks my oxygen levels, a doctor. She tells me, your oxygen levels are normal. I think you're anxious. As anxious because every night I went to bed thinking a lot of people have died and I'm not any special, I'm not any different. What if I don't wake up? My biggest scare was that I would feel like I wouldn't wake up in the morning, that I would die alone. I would imagine that someone, like, they would have to break the door to find my body. But my neighbor would constantly come and knock on the door, and when I like come and knock back, she would know that I'm alive. For the longest time, I couldn't walk to the sitting room. I couldn't go, guys, I live in a 1-bedroom house. I couldn't go to my living room because I was so tired. The thing is that it gives you so much fatigue. You can be so exhausted and you've done nothing. You are so exhausted. Then food would burn me from the moment I ate it, from the moment I could even feel where it has settled in the stomach because there would be fire. I could not take. Then when you breathe, the lungs, somewhere beneath the lungs, is like so, the rib cage, it's very painful. Everything about your body hurts. Guys, COVID is like the worst thing ever. So I feel like I probably told you in passing that I had COVID and I didn't tell you just how bad it was. Because yesterday when I sat down with my border guy and I told him all these things, I saw that shock on his face. I told him, you know what, this is like HIV. The drugs that, like when HIV had just come and doctors were gambling and the science world was gambling, they were trying everything possible to fight this virus that they didn't know about. Commercial, bro. So anyway, this is like HIV. Doctors are gambling. There's no cure, there's no vaccine yet. Everything that you see is just what they are treating symptoms. So this was, I had 2 of these because I was taking so many drugs. I was taking vitamin C. I started taking this because COVID left me with ulcers, like something called over gastric, over what, it burnt me, and in the long, and I got ulcers. The thing about this disease is that everyone has their own symptoms. I've heard of people whose lungs have filled with water and they've died. I've heard of people who have gotten kidney disease. It's you know how HIV would not kill you, but the other diseases that it comes with would kill you. That's just how COVID is. This, right? And I've never had ulcers before. I've never had like any illnesses. I've never had any chronic, nothing. But I now have ulcers. I live with constant migraines, something I didn't have before. And then dizziness. Out of the blue, I can be driving somewhere and I get a dizzy spell and I have to fast park. So that means that I worry each time that I could cause an accident or I could be in an accident myself. So that means that I've had to reduce my movements, because the effects of COVID last for as long as, like 6 months, a year, and sometimes they never go away. There's memory loss for some people. And then another issue that I had was my hair started like falling out. Like when I was washing my hair, I could see it fall out. Like I could see chunks of my hair falling out. There was also that. When I read about it, it was when I read like, why is my hair falling out? I have COVID, blah, blah, blah. But that was one of the things that I had. My hair was falling out. I was taking zinc, but I felt like I wasn't getting better, so I increased it to, because you're supposed to do it 1 times 1, but I increased it to 1 times 2, so I take in the morning and in the evening. Even my vitamin C was 1 times 1, but I increased the dosage to 1 times 2. Yeah, so that's one part. So most of the medicine is actually done, most of the drugs are done, but I had a lot of drugs. I also, one of the things that helped me, by the way, is this syrup that I got from a friend. It's not yet in pharmacies. It's called Ficof. It was for the lungs. What? I'm going to, put the number of the person, and I also got this from them. I don't think it's in pharmacies. Guys, I'm not saying these are drugs, these are cures, but I'm just telling you what worked for me. I also had Azithro. I had a lot of it. It also got done. Then this is omeprazole. Like I said, I got ulcers. COVID burns you on the inside. It's like the worst. Then this is also another type of zinc that I got. I had a lot of drugs, guys. I would literally put them on a plate like food and start one by one. So the thing is, I'm going to share a video that I did, I think on like the 3rd or 4th day. You have to steam. You put either bishaka, mango leaves, avocado leaves, bishaka, bombo, whatever. Boil, steam yourself, or drink lemon, garlic. I used to also put turmeric. I used to put cinnamon, ginger in like put in a saucepan, boil and drink. I would take about 3 flasks per day. 3 flasks per day. Take it very, very, very hot. Very hot. So I think for these things you can even take them before you test positive, just as a preventative measure. And then you have to drink a lot of juice. You have to drink, you eat fruits, but above all, before we go into the, what treatment and whatnot. Please be careful. Wear your masks, sanitize, wash your hands, and if possible, please stay at home. Please, like, if you're not, like, be wary of big gatherings, be wary of getting, in touch with people, be wary of touching surfaces. And to tell you the truth, no, government is not lying to you. No one wants to make money off you. No one wants to, discourage you from moving. No one is trying to get anything away from you. Guys, it is real. I know friends whose family members have tested positive, and I know what they are going through. I know how hard it is. You don't know how exhausting it is to just move from the bedroom to the living room and start panting, because that's what COVID does. It gives you so much fatigue. It gives you so much fatigue that just taking 4 steps is very hard. You're out of breath after 4 steps, just 4 steps. So this is, and I forgot to tell you guys, I live with back pain because I got back pain, a lot of back pain, the whole body pain, and the back has been like the worst. I still have that, like the upper back pains. So anyway, so guys, I decided that, let me talk to you. Just maybe when you see someone that someone you've seen every day, blah blah blah, and she tells you she has gone through this, maybe you'll believe. No, government is not lying to you. COVID is here and it's happening. No one is stealing money. They're not stealing your money. They're not lying. They're not exaggerating figures. The figures are that high. The infections are that high. It is here and it is happening. In the beginning, government had controlled it. They had done a good job. They had sensitized. Generally, they did everything they could. And now the ball is in our hands. It's our turn. It's our turn to help out. Please, please, please.